Bison Wolf. We are not in a good spot at all, not even in the slightest. There's things that I have ideas that we can go, possible ways Lawrence can do things, but I don't really have an idea of what he's going to do here. Assumption could just be under the idea that he could flip the market entirely on all these things and the stuff that Amadi is attempting to do here to obtain the cash and the stuff that he needs to be able to uphold his own half of the deal here, to be able to then put himself in the position where Hollow then has to make the decision, which she's kind of hinted towards the idea that she would do something like this. But now, would she? We don't really know. I mean, she might kind of come to her senses and realize that's not the case at all, but she's pretty worked up over everything that happened, so who really knows? So the safe thing would be screw him over as much as you can, make sure that he doesn't obtain as much money as he kind of needs. But this is all me operating under the idea that he doesn't actually have the physical funds yet, and he is just obtaining a bunch of this stuff in hopes that when the market kind of reopens within the morning, he's able to then sell everything off prior to the encounter that we have to actually have together, and then he's able to have all the money there. So if we can kind of do something to manipulate the price and allow him not to be able to obtain all of that, things will work out positively for Lawrence. Now, that doesn't have to be the case either, and Lawrence could also just take a different route where he does something to kind of get back on Hollow's side and prove and show that, you know, he didn't mean to do the things that he did, and while he did do them, and he probably regrets doing them now that he looks at them, or maybe he doesn't, who knows, because it's hard just to tell somebody about all this information, especially when none of it's confirmed. And then as you get it to be confirmed, how do you tell somebody about all these things that they've lost? He has to make it up to her or show her that he truly does care and all this stuff too, so we'll have to kind of see. It doesn't have to go either of the ways either. It could just go its own way and I'll be completely wrong, and I usually am, and we'll just end up seeing how that works out. Hopefully you guys enjoy. If you like it all, the like and subscribe reminds me, feel free to stick around for the discussion on the comments with this episode or series. Let's go on episode 17. Yeah, so everyone having fun outside but us, as our lives come to the end. Potentially. Our journey comes to the end, I should say, not lives. Broken man kicked out of the home by his woman. Yeah, things were good till last night. Or till tonight.
勢いのついた馬を止められる者がいないように値段の上昇はそうそう変わらない。石屋の隣に急遽作られた値段表は売り待ちの木札に対して買い待ちの方が増える一方だ。
Well, that works as a visualization for us.
全知全能の神でもなけりゃ風向きを変えるのは無理だ。
Yeah, that's till you met us. Yeah.
予想がつくような値下がりじゃ。アマーティが巻き込まれるとは思えないしな。
お前、暴落を仕掛ける気か。
それしかないだろう。
Okay, so exactly as I thought.
明日の日没までにあいつが買い込んだ大鉄鋼。
Exactly as I thought then. Cool. Cool. That's the smartest thing to do, because it assures success that Hollow no longer has the choice to make. Then she still has to make it afterwards, but you also get yourself in a better spot, I would say. Always seeing through these things. She'd be capable of seeing right through it, right? Predicting what's gonna happen and the way to make it occur. And the thing is, you thinking this is gonna ruin so many people's lives. Let's have a talk. Oh, look away. Oh, never mind. Oh, boy. You fucking clown. I'd place money on she's gonna get mad later that he didn't go upstairs and apologize. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
どちらもお連れの方でございます。一通は依頼されて私が代筆いた。
大鉄鋼銀貨300枚分処分可能な財産。 これはアマーティの財産の内訳。
Still in it? Did she leave this now or did she leave this before? Probably before, or probably now.
アマーティの字。
Damn, so even when you're not on the good terms, she's still doing her job.
婚姻誓約書。
Oh.
ほら、アマーティさんがよく行かれる酒場でしたら。
I gotta beat someone's ass.
何か
On edge now.
なさらないでください。商売の話に来たのです。率直に申しますと、大鉄鋼を買っていただきたいのです。大鉄鋼を買っていただきたい。現在の相場でトレニー銀貨およそ500枚分の大鉄鋼を。
ご冗談を。
冗談ではありません。
私が大鉄鋼の転売で儲けていることはご存知でしょう。だというのに、私
What's your intention of helping me?
借金さえ回収できればホロさんのことはどうでもいいという。
He's even mad about that.
信用売りをしたいのです。
信用。
Hmm.
はい。
それは一体。
現在の相場でトレニー銀貨500枚分の大鉄鋼を明日の夕刻にお売りしたいということで、私は今ここで
Right, so it's a bank in the fact that we can tank it, but you're gonna automatically get it tomorrow. Or you're gonna get it regardless of what it becomes tomorrow. In his mind, it should be good because it should go up, but in your mind, you're gonna do something to get it to lower, and you'll be able to make out on it.
で大鉄鋼の値段が今より上がっていたとしても、今の値段で評価した大鉄鋼をいただけるということです。
But what's his plan to flip it?
例えば、現時点で1200イレードの大鉄鋼一つ信用売りしたとしましょう。私はこの場でアマーティさんから代金を受け取りますが、明日の夕刻、その大鉄鋼が2000イレードになっていても、私は大鉄鋼をアマーティさんにお渡ししなければなりません。
逆に言えば、明日の夕刻に200。
So it's essentially a challenge. That's what we're doing here. Yes.
そういうことです。
Are you as good as you think you are?
なぜ直接取引しないのですか。どういうことですか。この信用売りというやつは手元に商品がないのにそれを売ってお金を得るものですね。信用買いが手元にある商品の価値が上がることで利益になるなら、信用売りはお金の価値が上がればいい。つまり売った商品の値段が下がればいいということですよね。
Yeah.
さすが。
The way he worded it was weird to me, but I think he's thinking what I'm thinking.
ロレンさんが儲かるとき、私は損をすることになる。これはつまり
Challenge.
アマーティさん、
Yep.
あなたに決闘を申し込んでいるの。
The way merchants know how, right? Not physically. We use the brain.
よもや証書も交わさずに取引を行うわけではないですよね。仮に明日の夕刻に大鉄鋼の値が下がるのだとしても、その前に必要な金額を満たすほどの値が上がれば、私は少々売ってしまうでしょう。あまりにも事故の利益のためにロレンさんが不利になるような取引は受けたくない。
この取引だけを見ればそうかもしれませんが、実はこのくらいの分の悪さでちょうどいい。
But I like how he says I don't want to enter it, but he entered one doing the exact same thing.
アマーティさんも控えをお持ちなんでしょ。アマーティさんは私に借金を返しても、ホロが首を縦に振らなければどうにもならないという危険と相関合わせです。この程度の分の悪さ、それに比べれば小さいものです。
そんな心配はご無用かと存じますが、随分と激しい。
Yeah, I'm not too worried. Things are gonna go my way.
私の腕の中で3度。
She's still here.
そんな時はなかなか可愛いやつなのですが。
But then again, this could be a breaking point.
本心とは違う言動を取りたがることがあります。つまり、
受けましょう。ロレンさんの申し出を受けましょう。
There's that 3 times crying is 3 too many.
何もかも奪う結果になってしまった。
But fine, I'll
あ
do
まりに
this.
も酷だとそう思っていました。しかし、そのようにおっしゃるならば
Yep.
受けて立ちましょう。そして、 ロレンさんの財産もな
I love the awareness coming from him though, because that's what he said earlier. Is I have no intention of like gaining from your loss, but literally the first duel that they make is essentially taking Kala from him and trying to gain from the loss of her that they ended up having. You know, so we're doing it once again. So what's the plan? How do we get this to work the way we want it to? I don't know.
祭りが終わる頃に集中しなかったか？
するな。
そこで一つ噂を流してもらいたいんだ。
危ない話はお断りだぞ。
お前が言えばそうかもしれないが、小僧が言うくらいなら問題ないことというのがある。
That's true. We have sent them around a lot.
そろそろ麦の値段も上がる頃かなと。
噂で例の石の値段を下げようって腹か。
Yeah, I don't actually know how it correlates, but sure.
この町に何かを売りに来て、帰りに何かを買っていく者たちだ。そいつらが帰りの荷台に積むもので、最も多い。
But instead they're doing this, so if we altered the wheat instead, we can... Okay, okay.
同時に相当量の大鉄鋼が売りに出されたとしたら、
いくら分だ？
トレニー銀貨1000枚分。
1000枚？バカか。そんなことをしたらいくら損をするかわからないぞ。
No, 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 we're good, we're good.
何言ってんだ。
大鉄鋼があと銀貨500枚分現物で揃えば、値段が上がろうが下がろうが、こちらの懐は痛まない。
くそ、信用売りか。
Yes, sir.
信用売りと通常の商売を組み合わせること。大鉄鋼を買い集めてほしい。
買う当てを作ってから契約したんじゃないのか。
残念ながらそんな余裕がなかった。夜が明けてから市場で銀貨500枚分の買いを出したら、大鉄鋼の値段がうなぎのように上がってしまう。
So we gotta do it before.
釣りに相場に影響を与えず買い集めたい。だから、ここの町商人であるお前のつてを頼りたいんだ。
Well, it's already late as fuck, so we gotta get moving.
でもいい。ある程度まとまった量なら、リュミオーネ金貨で払う。礼はする。それなりの金額を。
ダメだ。
そうか。
All too shirtless.
え？
その頼みには応じられない。
礼はする。手間賃などというケチなことは言わない。お前は絶対に損をしない。うまい話だろう。
損はしない。
だ。
But everybody's gonna look at him if he's doing some shit, right? And he's skewing the market.
お前が言う危険はすべて行商人のものだ。でも俺はこの市場を戦場にしている町商人なんだ。儲け話を見つけたら素早く飛びつくことは決して美徳ではない。町商人は副業で大儲けをするくらいなら本業でつつましく稼ぐのを良しとする。銀貨500枚分の大鉄鋼を買い集める俺を見て周りはどう思う？本業をほっぽり出して博打にのめり込んでいるどうしようもない。
No, you're too worried about your status. You're too worried.
は俺だけのものじゃない。懇意にしてくれている者たちすべて、嫁と子供、それに血のつながるすべての者たち。そのすべての名誉がかかっているんだ。お前は
I get it.
報酬を支払えるのか？これくらいの小さな
And also, you're up and out of here afterwards. He still has to deal with anything that may come as a result.
その修理の費用は10
Yeah.
20の金貨ではとても足りはしない。だがそんなに必死になってまでアマーティの邪魔をしなくとも、連れはそう簡単に向こうになびかないだろう。初めてお前の横にいる姿を見た俺だってそう思うくらいなんだ。もっと自信を持てよ。
署名入りの婚姻誓約書を突きつけられた。
Yeah.
もちろん相手はアマーティだ。何もなけりゃ、そりゃ俺だって自信がないわけではない。だがその何かがあった。
So we have to kind of get a move on him. And Amati's not even aware of the...
それでもまだ望みがあるからお前は走っていると、そういうわけか。で、他に当てはあるのか？
とりあえず、バトスさんに話を聞いてもらう。
なるほど。あの女に話を通してもらうつもり。あの女は北の地区を取りまとめている人間だ。特に錬金術師たちの窓口になっていると言っていい。いろんな理由で狙われやすい錬金術師があんなに群れていられるのはな。俺らの見立てじゃあの女がいるからだ。
それで？
錬金術師たちなら大鉄鋼を持ってるだろう。
Okay. Well, that would make sense. I was wondering as well.
変わっちゃならない連中だ。つまり
But you're an outsider and you can, so yeah, they got
頼ってくれ
tons.
たのは嬉しく思うが、俺にできるのはこのくらいだ。
いや、
I ain't doing shit for
大
you.
きな可能性を見過ごすところだった。
The entire conversation before that was
協力を
pointless.
なんだが、
Could have just told us this from the beginning.
それだけでも儲けものだ。
俺は表立って動けないが、他人の懐具合をぼそりとつぶやくくらい。そりゃあんな娘っ子も大胆なことをするだろう。
どういう意味だ？
なんでもない。商人なら商売のことだけを考え。
I'm assuming he means that it's a fake copy of the thing. And she's doing it in a way to kind of light a fire under him. That's been my assumption since the beginning, though. Because I don't think it makes sense for him to operate and act on it prior to, based on what the agreement was before. So him going and proposing while he's not even freed her doesn't really make sense, you know? Another duel. What is this? 2 times in a row? 2 weeks in a row? Different duels. 2 run side to side here with the same 3 members included between the 3 of them, essentially. Yeah, it's kind of crazy how all that works and how all that comes together. Pretty cool, though. The way that we can kind of set this up and progress things and push Lawrence in a way that really forces him to, you know, light a fire under him and get him going and get him moving completely different. And I'm excited to see, I guess, just the overall talks, I guess, that we're going to have with Diana and maybe the other alchemists and stuff that we can kind of meet. That would be pretty cool. But we might not. It might just be her and her negotiating and kind of helping us out while we're just kind of the other guy there. I don't really know. But the majority of the episode kind of just stems between like 2 main conversations, I would say, that come out of them, while it does expand upon a lot of the information and everything that we kind of need. We're now left in a spot where Lawrence has to figure out what he's going to do. He's got to go crash the market. That's what I was assuming was going to happen. Last episode, that seemed the most likely thing. You can't leave it all in Hollow's hands, right? You can't leave her in a situation where you're having to trust her that things are going to go your way and that she's going to rationally kind of accept you for what you want to do. But instead, you have to kind of take matters into your own hands here, which is what he was doing before. Blind faith, I think, is even what I kind of titled the episode or something. And it's putting your trust essentially blindly into these people, expecting them all to act out rationally and expect them to act out the way that they've shown themselves to possibly do, and bank on how good of a relationship that you possibly have. And all that came crumbling by the end of the last episode. But you're at the point now, you can't just kind of blindly trust them and assume they're going to do that. So what do we have to do now? Well, we have to take matters into our own hand, which was set up entirely by Hollow too. While Lawrence still had true intentions of doing this, her leaving behind information to get us kind of moving, giving us information of what it is that Amadi actually has money-wise, how he's planning to utilize all that and get to what he needs to, as well as another letter of a actual marriage contract or whatever with a signature from her on it. Now that I'm making the assumption it's fake and not even real, not the signature, but the actual contract, and not actually being something that he did, just under the assumption that he wasn't supposed to give over or he wasn't supposed to make this proposal or like ask this of her until the completion of the thing before the duel that he essentially was having with Lawrence. Now, it doesn't mean he just listened and did that. He could have gone out of his way and actually proposed and done all of this prior to it, which also could be the case. So it could be real entirely. I'm just making the guess it's not. Regardless, it is a kind of a fucked up thing, I think, from Hollow's perspective. It works narratively in the sense that we're trying to draw Lawrence out and be like, we gotta light a fire under you and get you going, get you really realizing like there's a reason to act out and a reason to do these things, and not just have this trust in her that things are going to work out that way, which is could work entirely well from her perspective of let me fake this thing that I know he's gonna do and make him kind of act out and do it, because now he doesn't even have a choice. Right now there's no brief period at the end where we work things out perfectly and then we end up having a stage where it's like, all right, now we have to get her to accept it. The moment that this contract and the debt is paid off, they're legally technically married. So it's like we have to immediately do it and force him into a situation where we can't blindly put faith in her, because we now know that's not the case. Now, once again, I still don't know if it's real or not. I guess it doesn't really matter. But regardless, it's kind of fucked up, like I said, because it's forcing something upon him to do this. I don't know. I don't know how to, I guess, feel about that. It's from her perspective. I don't, because I would never even blindly put that faith in him, because it's once again falling under the same exact assumption that he's going to make this work out. And you're going against somebody who everyone that we've gone and come into so far since the beginning of this arc has praised nonstop about how successful and how smart and how great he is as the type of person he is, especially at such a young age. So now Hollow putting that in the hands of Lawrence, who we've been able to see is plenty capable unstable, but also at multiple turns has needed to rely entirely on her. And once again, almost entirely relying on her and the information and stuff that she's kind of giving to lead him in a positive direction. Here, it just doesn't, I guess, logically make a lot of sense in my mind from her position to be like, yeah, I trust that he's going to be able to do this, because if not, she's forced to go with him, unless she's like fully okay with the idea that it doesn't matter which way it turns out and she just wants him to like go out of his way and truly prove himself. But even then, it's like still fucked up that you're forcing like this entire situation on somebody just to like essentially make a point. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. I guess I'll reflect on it a little more, but it's a little weird. I think just the way that she's kind of handling it and forcing the, I guess, drama that we're essentially getting here. But we'll have to see how that moves a little bit onwards. So yeah, the episode entirely starts off exactly like that. Early conversation here talking about the price drop and everything that we're going to get, and how Amadi's trying to do the things that he is and what we need to do to make that change, as he ends up having some understanding. Wow, we passed a ton of time before we really got into things, huh? What the hell? Yeah, I like this shot, having moments of like seeing them where they probably should be and what he wants them to see, or wants to actually see, and where he wants to be and actually isn't. He goes up to the room, I'm assuming likely to talk to her, and I was assuming he was going to regret it, or she was going to get mad that he never made that effort or attempt, but ends up getting stopped before he could. We get the letters and everything that we just discussed with the signature and stuff from her, immediately forcing him into action. We have to go find Amadi. We have to go speak to him. This is where we basically figure out our plan. Let's get the credit. Let's do all this, or let's do this on credit. It makes it easier for him. It's a win or loss, basically. There's no safe net for anybody kind of involved here. Either you're going to take a huge loss or you're going to take a huge hit. The loss stuff doesn't, I guess, fully add up on Amadi's part for me, due to the idea that even if we do tank the price of Pyrite, he's still going to be able to sell whatever it is that Lawrence essentially has to hand over to him, then allowing him to make money. Now, he still will probably take a loss, but is it so invaluable to a point that he's taking, like, I mean, he's supposed to get up to 500 of value out of this. Is it so much like to that point that he's going to end up only gaining like 10 of value out of everything that he has to end up selling? I don't know. Like, and that's the only thing I wish I kind of was under the idea of, like, what it possibly could plummet to with what they're saying. But yeah, I mean, I don't actually fully know that, I guess. But this, like, I'm a little cautious, I guess, too, regarding this and the whole thing that we do here, because the situation is like really smart from Amadi's perspective of not being like, there's no reason for me to take this. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't have to do any of this, and being well aware of what Lawrence is going to try and do and how that's going to work. So instead of adding the stipulation of I can sell out the contract and stuff, makes perfect sense and understandable until we get him to like a boiling point. We just bring up Hollow that gets him like all angry and irrationally kind of just acting out here. It's kind of weird to me. I don't know, because it leaves me wondering, like, why, like, somebody who's been proclaimed as so successful and actually has been having all this success up to this point is somebody who can't even control his temper, like, when it comes to other people, and makes rash decisions like this. Just like is a little weird. And now we're also moving into an area that does concern me as well for what they're planning to do, because if everything successfully goes off the way that Lawrence kind of wants it to here, it leaves me just wondering, like, in what world would Amadi just solely go on the idea of understanding how smart of a person that he's being claimed to be, and also being smart enough to kind of see through and understand the things that Lawrence is essentially trying to do here? How would he not have checked that at any moment that, you know, there's another area that he possibly could get into, or maybe he has these connections? And I guess that makes sense with like Diana and all that, because certain people don't want to associate, don't want to go over there, and also she's unwilling to deal with and help out other people. So I guess that's the only benefit that we have of having that in. So it makes sense maybe Amadi doesn't have access to that, but even if he doesn't, you'd make the assumption at least that he'd be smart enough or be able to network enough to get to the point that he can understand that there is a segment out there and something that Lawrence might target, and might try and figure out something or some sort of way to counter that, and be kind of well aware of that. Because if we don't, and we just kind of go off of he's just going to play it by ear and see what happens if he has to sell or not, and Lawrence is going to kind of operate behind the scenes here and end up making everything work out, it just leaves me a little like, he just kind of sat down and let him take it from him. He let him do it. He made a decision that he didn't have to. He never had to accept any of this either, and could have just went with the other deal instead. And then he puts his pride on the line here and makes these rash decisions. And it's like a little, I don't know, it's something about it just feels kind of off to me, but we end up making the deal anyways. And then we have a long ass conversation here about attempting to get rumors to be spread by using our apprentice here, and basically what the plans are moving forward with gaining so much pyrite and how we're going to utilize that in some sort of way to our own advantage here, right? In a way that we end up taking no loss, but also probably really gaining no gain by the end of the day. And the gain actually we do gain is getting Hollow back probably, and not end up losing her. But yeah, I mean, everybody has their valid reasons. We can't go out of our way and just kind of help you blindly and do all of this, and instead we have to, you know, protect ourselves. We're going to live here forever as well, and we can't have all these rumors and this kind of negative whatever the word is for that, understanding. I can't think of what word I want to use here. Negative, like things kind of about you that people are seeing or having these assumptions and things, like, right? And they're creating all these things and assuming that you're in this sort of spot, you're this sort of person who's not acting out completely normal, but instead let's utilize these other people to our own advantage. And we can also do this in fluctuate the market so much. What I'm assuming by taking Lawrence and taking the wheat that we kind of mentioned, the thing that people typically buy, by letting them know, hey, the price is actually going to go up a ton, forcing them to go out of their way, forcing them to buy the wheat and focus a lot more on that, which is more of a primary thing as opposed to the side project shit that they kind of have with the pyrite, and focus with that, be able to make money or get it before they end up having to lose money and having to wait on that, then causing lots of other pyrite to likely be sold, then causing also naturally a lot of the pyrite prices to go down, with more of it kind of being available within the market and not actually being sold. Just works itself out pretty nice for him. He's able to really see through and figure out and try and get this to fluctuate things just enough that Amati ends up finding himself just likely coming up short. And I don't think we're really going to screw him to the point that he ends up having nothing at the end, and he also ends up not like being able, because we know he has other methods of likely getting to the goal that he needs to, but I think fluctuating it enough that he just comes up slightly short, and we end up becoming successful as a result there. It's interesting. I don't know. I'm left conflicted, I think, based on like a few of the motivations and things between the characters, and possibly the way that things could end up coming out of this, which will leave me, I guess, more of that will get shared up as we go into the next episode and whatever else is remaining within this arc, and understanding the way that a lot of that stuff is resolved and actually goes about, and we'll figure it out from there, I guess. But I am left just really intrigued, I guess, is the way that this will go, because if it does go in certain ways that I do have suspicions of, and I am a little bit fearful of, I probably won't be the most thrilled about that, but who knows, we'll have to see. It's interesting and smart enough of ways for them to set up and do everything that they need to, and Lawrence to act out the way that, you know, you would kind of expect him and everything too. So we'll have to end up seeing what occurs going into the next day that they have. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you liked it, all, like and subscribe. Reminds me, feel free to check out the video channel, comments of this video series. I'll be back for episode 18 next week. It was a great one. Peace.